transfer talk. Basically, if you've never watched one of these videos of my series before, well, doesn't need much explaining. We talk about transfers basically, but we only talk about transfers involving Premier League teams, seeing as I'm from England, so it's more sort of relevant. So basically, how this one is going to work is I'm going to go through all the transfers that happened in January, in the January transfer window, and I'm going to do it club by club. I have the Sun website loaded up here on my laptop, and as controversial a newspaper it is, the list of transfers seems pretty complete and in an easy to read layout. So essentially I'm just going to scroll through the teams, mainly talk about the players brought in, but if there are any significant transfers out, I'll talk about them as well. So yeah, we should start with Arsenal, and they didn't bring anyone in. The only player they brought in was Cohen Bramall for £40,000 from Huddersfield Town. Never heard of him, if I'm honest. I should note, I don't actually have any notes written down or anything. I'm literally just going to give my reaction to the transfers. There's no statistics or anything. It's simply just my thoughts and views. So don't slate me if you don't agree. Leave a comment what you think about the transfers. So yeah, Arsenal, really not a lot to talk about there. Bournemouth again. None. Brought in no one. Wow, okay. But looking from the outs, I see Glenn Murray went to Brighton for £3 million. I'm assuming he was already on loan there then, because he's one of the Championship's top scorers. That's goodbye for Brighton. Brighton, I think, are second in the league at the minute. They drew with Ipswich earlier tonight. Now we have Burnley. We have in Joey Barton on a free. Why is Joey Barton back? I don't even know if he's any good anymore, because it just seems that his controversy and the things he does speak louder than his actual footballing ability. So don't know if that's good. Robbie Brady from Norwich, undisclosed. I really rate Robbie Brady. I think he had a decent Euros tournament. He's very fast, can play left back or left mid. He's got a rocket of a left foot. Brilliant crosser of the ball. That's a very good buy for Burnley, I think. And then Ashley Westwood from Aston Villa for an undisclosed fee. He's a pretty tidy player. Obviously he was in the Aston Villa side that got relegated last season. He's a tidy player, nothing special. Will probably fit into the Burnley team pretty well, I guess, but not really. That transfer's not really saying much. Now we move on to Chelsea. Again, nobody in apart from Kyle Jameson. No idea who that is. Sorry, Chelsea fans, if me some wonder kid. Now out. I'm going to talk about this. Oscar to Shanghai SIPG for 52 million. The whole China thing really, really annoys me. Now, I have no objection to older players like Carlos Tevez, for example, going to finish their career. They've had very respectable careers with some of Europe's top clubs, and they're just going to go there to make a bit of extra money purely because they can. However, I really don't think young players like Oscar, Oscar's ability, he could get into it easily a top 4 side abroad. You could see him in Atletico Madrid. You could see him at Inter Milan or somewhere. But he's gone to Shanghai, and it's not like as a boy he's growing up saying, "Oh, when I grow up, I'm going to try and play for Shanghai." Because who does that? No one does that. Obviously China just trying to boost their footballing league, but it just feels like, I don't know, it feels to me like football money isn't real anymore. The sums are so massive. But yeah, I don't agree with young players going to China. I think it's waste of talent, and it's just greed, really. And, I think football, if I'm honest, on a deep level, has got very greedy. Anyway, off that, but yeah, Oscar went to Shanghai for 52 million. Mad. Right, now we move on to Crystal Palace. Firstly, they bought Jeffrey Schlupp from Leicester for 12 million. £12 million for Jeffrey Schlupp. I mean, I don't know, was that a mistake? Like, Jeffrey Schlupp is not worth £12 million. That is ludicrous. Don't get me wrong, he's a decent player. But 12 million, no. He's very pacey, good defender, can play left mid, I guess. Obviously got a Premier League winners medal last year, despite not being involved that much, but 12 million is a ridiculous amount. They also paid £14 million to sign Patrick Van Aanholt from Sunderland, and I really rate Patrick Van Aanholt. I think Sunderland will really miss him. He's not brilliant at defending, but as sort of a wing back, he's really effective going forward. He's very fast, he's got a good shot, he scored, I think he was like Sunderland's top scorer, maybe behind a foe, could be wrong. But yeah, I really rate Patrick Van Aanholt. 14 million, maybe not. I'd say max 8. But, like I said, the sums of money in football are ridiculous. And then they've also got Mamadou Sakho on loan from Liverpool. That's a really good loan. You can see they're obviously trying to focus on bolstering their defence. And Sakho is far better than Damien Delaney, I'd say. Scott Dan, I actually rate Scott Dan. I think he's a pretty decent Premier League player. But yeah, Sakho, that I'm sure he'll do well for Palace if he's not injured or doing drugs or whatever. Okay, now we move on to Everton. They brought in Ademola Lookman from Charlton for 11 million. A really young player, bright teenager, plays on the wing. I watched him play a bit last season when he played for Charlton, and he's really dangerous, loves to take on a man, he's fast. One thing he could add to his game is arguably his finishing, but he's young, he's got plenty of time to develop. I think that's a really great buy, if I'm honest. Bear with me a sec, I'm just going to have a drink. Sorry about that. Next we have Morgan Schneiderlin from Manchester United for 22 million. I feel a bit sorry for Morgan Schneiderlin. He was brought in by Louis van Gaal. Was part of the really subpar Man United team, but he's a decent player, and I think being part of that team reflected badly on him. And then obviously more players have been brought in, and he's not going to get a look in past. Pogba is a 22 million, maybe a bit much, 15 tops I'd say, but on Everton's part that's a really good buy, because he's a proven Premier League player, knows the league, he's strong, physical, good at defending, can pick a pass out. That's a good buy, I think. And then Anton Donkor on loan from Wolfsburg. Don't know who that is, couldn't tell you what position he plays, sorry for that. They've let Delafeu go on loan to AC Milan. I'm guessing the player asked for that as he wasn't getting enough game time, as often is the case. Yeah, that's it for Everton, as I can see. Hull City brought in Marcus Henriksen from AZ Alkmaar for an undisclosed fee. I don't know too much about him, can't really comment. I think he's an attacking midfielder. At least Hull City are getting some professional players in, because I think at the beginning of the season didn't they have only 14 first team players and the rest were young players. They've got Vandro in from Porto. He's a good deliverer of the ball, I believe. Yeah, he should be good, should really add to their midfield. They've got Niasse on loan from Everton. Hasn't really proven himself in the Premier League, but could be good at Hull. Lazar Markovic from Liverpool on loan. I didn't even realise Lazar Markovic still was with Liverpool. But yeah, he's on loan at Hull, and on Match of the Day, he looked brilliant for Hull. He is so quick, he's ridiculously quick. signed Andrea Ranocchia from Inter Milan on loan. Proven European centre-back, can't argue with that. Alfred Ndiaye from Villarreal on loan, and Kamil Krasicki from Rennes on loan. Krasicki, too, is a very tricky, fast player. He had a decent Euros, I thought, as well. He's Polish. Overall, I'd say have done very, very well. By the looks of the standard and calibre of players they brought in, maybe they'll be safe. I don't really know. We'll see. But they've had to bring players in because players have left. Jake Livermore has gone to West Brom for £10 million. 10 million for Jake Livermore, 5 million tops, but again, knows the league, strong, powerful, just decent midfielder really. And then Robert Snodgrass, West Ham for 10 million. I'd say 10 million for Snodgrass is probably about right on Hull's part because he's been their key man this season, and I think they'll miss him. But hopefully Markovic and Krasicki can do just as good a job on the wings. But yeah, Snodgrass. I'll talk more about him when we come to West Ham. Next we have Leicester. I'm not really going to say much because they brought in Wilfred Ndidi for £15 million from Genk, and I couldn't tell you a thing about him. And they also brought in Molawag from Udinese on loan. Don't know anything about him either. And obviously out Jeffrey Schlupp, and then Luis Hernandez. Not much to say. Liverpool. In none. Sort of a recurring theme with the top 6 clubs. And out, no one I can notice there, very significant. Thiago Lorry to Reading for 3.75 million. Markovic on loan, Sacco out on loan. Yep, nobody significant there, which is disappointing. But I guess, Jurgen Klopp, I don't think is the type of manager to panic buy. I think he's more spend in summer, so the squad has time to gel, kind of thing. But there we go. Manchester City in Gabriel Jesus from Palmeiras for 27 million. He's already got 3 goals and 2 assists or something along those lines in 3 games, but I believe he went off injured after 15 minutes, so hopefully he has a speedy recovery because he looks really good. He looks like he's really going to challenge Aguero for a spot. 27 million, I'd probably say it's a really good deal because he's a really young player, already scoring goals nationally for Brazil. I think he'll be an absolute superstar. I don't think he'll stay at City for his whole career. Could see him going to Barcelona or Real Madrid, somewhere like that. I'm just going to say now, I apologise if you can hear banging in the background or any other background noise. The block is being pretty noisy for some reason now, so I apologise if you can hear any noise. Now, Manchester United in. Nobody. Brilliant. Obviously Morgan Schneiderlin to Everton. Now Memphis Depay to Lyon. Fee could rise to 21.7 million. Probably a decent buy for Lyon. Memphis Depay really has really failed to make an impact in the Premier League. I don't think the system he was playing with under Louis van Gaal suited him. I don't think he's a left midfielder. I think he's a left winger. He can't really defend. I don't really think he's an up and down player, and I think that's where they went wrong with Memphis Depay. I read somewhere that there's a clause in his contract at Lyon that United can buy him back, which is interesting because it shows Jose Mourinho obviously rates him but believes he's not ready yet, possibly. And Depay's still young and there's no doubt he's got talent, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him back in the Premier League at some point. But Lyon have got a really good player there if he lives up to his potential and plays at the quality he can. Next we have Middlesbrough in Rudy Gestede from Aston Villa for £6 million. Don't know about that. I'd say Gusted is a Championship striker at best. You know, he's a good target man, but I'd say Championship is definitely his league. Did very well there for Blackburn, scoring goals, but I can't see him making an impact in the Premier League. They also signed Patrick Bamford from Chelsea. He has had loan spells at Middlesbrough. I believe he won Championship Player of the Year in 2012-13 or around there for scoring loads of goals and getting assists and that. Again, with Bamford, don't know if he's ever really going to make a big impact in the Premier League, but he's still young. We'll see. Anyways, Southampton in Hassan, I don't know, from Nice on loan. Nothing to say about him, unfortunately. Manolo Gabbiadini from Napoli for 17 million. Now, he's already scored 3 goals in his first 2 games. If you saw on his debut, he scored a brilliant goal. Was it against West Ham? From like an impossible angle, but he smashed it in like off the bar or off the post and into the top corner. It was mad. But they lost 3-1, I think, so it was kind of irrelevant, but great for him to score on his debut. And he then scored 2 goals. One with his arm, but who cares? Against Sunderland, where Southampton won 4-0 at the weekend. I think they've got a really good striker on their hands. 17 million sounds about right from a big Italian, European club. So yeah, good buy, I think. And out, nothing significant there apart from Jose Fonte, who I'll talk about when we get to West Ham. Stoke, we have in Lee Grant from Derby for 1.3 million. Yeah, I guess that's good. Pretty cheap. Backup keeper, I guess, for when Butland comes back. Or is he back? I'm not really sure. Oh well. And then Saido Berahino from West Brom for 12 million. He finally got his move. If you don't follow English football, basically Berahino every transfer window throws a fit and has a strop basically, and like refuses to play for the club, and then says, "Oh no, I'm sorry, I'll play for the club," just because he wants to move. When he's finally left, I mean, 12 million. I keep saying he's still young, but he is still young. And he has got quality, he's got pace, he's a good finisher, but it's just his attitude. Hopefully he's fully committed to Stoke, and then I think that's a decent buy, to be fair. Will he start ahead of Crouch though, because he's banging in goals? That was sarcasm, although Crouch did recently reach the 100 club for the Premier League, so well done, Peter. If you're watching, you're probably not, but oh well, well done anyway. Next we move on to Sunderland in Joelin Lescott. Lescott, he's played in the Premier League before. Is he any good? Nah, he's not that great, is he? Let's be honest, but on a free, can't argue. Maybe he'll sort out Sunderland's car crash of a defence. No offence to Sunderland fans, but you are playing poorly at the minute. Brian Oviedo from Everton for an undisclosed fee. I really liked Oviedo. I think he was becoming a really good player until I think he broke his leg or something, and that put him out for ages. Yeah, I think that's probably a good buy. They've needed to replace Van Aanholt, so they brought him in, and they've also brought in Darren Gibson from Everton. Gibson, just a pretty average centre mid player, I think. I love how Moyes is just buying Everton players. Like, he'll have the full Everton team soon. Okay, now the final 2 teams. We have Swansea. They've brought in Luciano Narsing from PSV for 4 million. I've actually watched Narsing play a couple of times. For PSV, he's really fast actually. I think he sort of struggled to get into their side towards the latter stages. And he's very fast, he's a good crosser of the ball as well, so that's probably a good buy. Martin Olsen, Norwich for undisclosed. Olsen's a decent left back, I think. Pretty fast, sound defender. Yeah, I'd say that's a good buy. Tom Carroll for Spurs, undisclosed. I'm surprised. Well, Tom Carroll leaving. Oh wait, I said final 2 teams. We're not. Sorry, there's just an advert. We've still got 5 teams. 4 teams after this. Sorry. Anyway, Tom Carroll. I feel a bit sorry for him. Looked like he had a lot of potential, but with the likes of, I feel like Tom Carroll was like Ryan Mason. looked to be a promising player, but then now you look, Dele Alli's come through, and you've got the likes of Harry Winks and Josh Onoma coming through, so really, he didn't really have a chance. But having said that, for Swansea, he's been brilliant so far. He's been very creative. He played excellently against Liverpool, so I think that's a good buy. And then they also signed Jordan Ayew from Aston Villa. Decent striker, probably Aston Villa's best player last season. Yeah, that's a good buy. Nice one. Spurs, nobody in. Carroll left, then a load of loans out. That's it. Watford in Tom Cleverley from Everton on loan. Decent Premier League player. Never really lived up to his potential, like he was tipped to be at Man United. Yeah, could be quite decent. Mbai Niang on loan from AC Milan. Yeah, he looks really good. Really tricky, fast, skillful player, powerful as well. Set up Deeney's goal at the weekend with, a brilliant cross and a bit of skill, so he looks really decent. And then Mauro Zarate from Fiorentina for an undisclosed fee. Yeah, I like Zarate as a player. Very tricky, fast. I think it'll be good for them. So Watford have bought a couple of players with flair. Yeah, I think they'll do pretty well. Now, before we go on to the next two teams, I'm just gonna have another drink. Thank you. Right, West Brom in Jay Livermore. Yeah, I think I mentioned earlier, pretty standard Premier League player, 10 million, a bit too much maybe. And then Mark Wilson from Bournemouth on loan. I'm guessing as backup for their defence. And then now, obviously, Sado Berahino, Callum McManaman to Sheffield Wednesday on loan. Yeah, nothing much to mention there. Now West Ham in, we got Jose Fonte from Southampton for 8 million. I was pretty surprised at that Fonte wanted to move, but you never really know what goes on behind closed doors. There might have been a fallout with manager or players that they keep quiet. But yeah, he's gone, and I think 8 million, very good price for a very, very good defender, I think. Yeah, very good buy for West Ham. And then Robert Snodgrass from Hull for 10 million. Maybe a bit much, but he's a great deliverer of the ball, likes to attack, pretty clinical, great delivery. Yeah, decent buy. And then finally, I'm going to finish with the out for West Ham. Dimitri Payet to Marseille for £25 million. Well, this was absolutely ridiculous. Payet refusing to play, for West Ham to force through a move, I think is really unprofessional. But the fact he's gone back to Marseille, the club where West Ham bought him from, shows you that he just wanted to move back home. I also read that Dimitri's Payet family never settled in England. They hated England. The kids weren't making friends at school and stuff like that. So they've obviously opted to move. The fact they've opted to move back home shows that Payet wasn't just wanting to leave West Ham. He was actually wanting to go home, kind of thing. Back to where they were settled. So I can sort of sympathise with him, but refusing to play for West Ham and refusing to play for I think the under 23s or something like that was a bit unprofessional. But he's gone, and West Ham have filled Payet's role with Robert Snodgrass. What a like-for-like transfer. But anyways, he'll definitely be missed, and I'm a bit gutted that he hasn't joined a top team, Champions League team, because I enjoy watching him play. He's a very, very good footballer, but he's gone back to the club where he did well, and he'll definitely do well in Ligue 1, I think. So, that does conclude this January 2017 transfer talk. Apologies that there were no visuals on screen, but due to the sort of rambly nature of the video, it would have been really difficult to keep inserting pictures pictures of players and the different teams, etc. So apologies on that front, but I hope you did enjoy it nonetheless. I hope you enjoyed listening to my views. Let me know down below which Premier League team you support, and if you are happy with your team's transfer activity and the transfers they brought in and released. But yeah, guys, next week, the next video should be another FIFA video. I think I'm going to do a foot draft video, just where I build 2 foot drafts. So that should be pretty fun. And then I'll have another football video after that. I think I might alternate between FIFA and football videos. But let me know what you guys want down below. So yeah, if you did enjoy, guys, please do leave a like and obviously leave a comment down below. And if you're new here, why not subscribe? And until the next ASMR